Hey everybody, Buck the movie buff back here to talk about the best flick I've seen all year, One Battle After Another, the long-awaited current film out by Paul Thomas Anderson, which he has written and directed and based on the novel Vineland, a 1990 novel by Thomas Pynchon. That was about a 1984 similar plot of a kind of washed up revolutionary that's out of practice, and his arch nemesis or evil past catches up with him or comes for his daughter. And Paul Thomas Anderson has in a masterly version recreated that novel at a perfect timing. The novel by of Vineland was right upon Reagan's reelection in 1984, and Paul Thomas Anderson's flick syncs with another presidential reelection in 2024. It couldn't be more poetic, more timely for everything going on in our country, and an allegory to that. I mean, while Vineland was more about the fascist Nixonian state and repression, all that, what could Paul Thomas Anderson's movie be about? Hint, hint, yes. That is obvious and apparent through the trailer. I already suspected that, and like in the first 5-10 minutes of the movie, the first 5 minutes, you could see that. And alert, therefore spoilers. When you see my reviews, I do give out spoilers because I'm going to talk about my interpretation of the film, its allegories, the cast, what other things they've done, and this kind of resurgence of the exploitation flicks of the 70s, like what you had with Foxy Brown, Pam Grier, who later Quentin Tarantino got to do Jackie Brown, and I have here my collector's edition of that movie, one of my favorite, easily top 3 favorites of Quentin Tarantino. Check it out. Paul Thomas Anderson has geniusly done this and impeccably for the 2020s. Black exploitation film with Latino exploitation. You're rooting for these people. They're being persecuted by the authorities in covert and overt ways. And you just want them to prevail against all odds in what's happening in the film. So Leonardo DiCaprio, brilliant performance. Does he need to win another Oscar? I don't know. He easily could with this performance, but I'm looking here at not Bob Ferguson, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, Sean Penn's role of Stephen Lockjaw. That was amazing, to the point where driving home from the cinema, my daughter was like, I hated that character. And I was like, me too. And that's why he should win the Best Supporting Actor role this Oscar year coming up in March 2026, because here's somebody that can play a character like Lockjaw, and he won the Best Actor Academy Award for playing Harvey Milk in the film Milk. And I told that to my daughter, and she's like, what? I was like, yeah, like about 20 years ago or so. And so that's when you have an actor that is a great, doing their art and crafting it and delivering it and performing it at its best. Wow. Hats off to Sean Penn. Tiana Taylor blew my mind. Her role was so key to this. She's been in lots of things. Go check it out. I mean, aside from her being a singer-songwriter, model, in this, she was out of this world. Reminded me, of the Terminator and Sarah Connor or something like that, but in the year this movie takes place, more contemporarily, in the millennium, the 2020s. I was really blown away by Chase Infiniti's performance as Willa, who was like Bob Ferguson's and Perfidia Beverly's daughter. And I love her name, Willa Ferguson. They get these names as you watch the film to go into hiding because of their revolutionary. And I mean, in terms of revolutionary, we're looking at hasta la victoria siempre, Che Guevara stuff, viva la revolución, viva, as DiCaprio says, and wonderful Spanish by him too. Willa, she has will, it's like part of her DNA, being born of Perfidia in this film, and doesn't have to exercise it or maybe even realize it's in her until it's needed, when she no longer is in hiding because she's being persecuted and pursued, by Lockjaw. And wow, if ever, you see somebody's character development transition so fast and so impeccably, she did it. You believed every bit of it. One of the things that threw me for a loop is to be in the cinema for 3 hours. This is a 2-hour, 45-minute movie, but you add on trailers. I even asked my daughter, did it feel like a 3-hour movie? And she was like, it was a 3-hour movie? I said, yeah. We were in there 3 hours. It doesn't feel like that. It feels like a 90-minute to 2-hour movie. That is the rhythm that Paul Thomas Anderson is capable of showing. He's so in touch with the rhythm, the music that goes along with that, and hats off to Johnny Greenwood, who also composed the music for There Will Be Blood, which is one of my easily top 3 flicks by Paul Thomas Anderson now, because I think this one's like actually number 1 for me. That's how I feel coming out of cinema. Like, this is the best film he's made. That's like what it made me feel like. I know Magnolia. I have that on DVD just as I have Jackie Brown, but this is his masterpiece. And if ever he wins the best director and best film from the Academy Awards, this is it. This is the one. Johnny Greenwood, what an amazing composer to be able to create such disjunct music with polyrhythms and experimentally it feels. It really gives you this sense and feeling of chaos and this very nihilistic world that Paul Thomas Anderson's auteurism often shares with the viewer. He did that in There Will Be Blood. I mean, ruthless, man against nature, or just dog eat dog world, or just no mercy. This is what you feel and see in his films, and Johnny Greenwood is a phenomenal composer to just get you feeling that chaos through the musical arrangement that goes along with the film, and the rhythm that will build just like it did in Magnolia. It gets you going, and it's amped, and you're not sure what's going to happen next. And I was on the edge of my seat, but then there's these moments, after 2/3 of the film where you are allowed to kind of really identify with the characters now in the movie and be in the plot of the movie. A master storyteller, an auteur. I am so happy to get to see this movie from Paul Thomas Anderson. I liked Licorice Pizza as his previous film. I saw it 3 times, I think. I almost had to see it 3 times because it was I think he almost wanted you to feel like you were in that SoCal Stone scene, and everything with that. I'll have to kind of review that at another time. I'm trying to still catch up with all the movies I've seen in the cinema this year, this being the most recent. I've seen others that I haven't yet recorded, but I'm just so energized and excited and satisfied with this film that I want to get it up. I want to share my ideas while they're fresh. And I think I'm going to call this a part 1 because there needs to be a part 2. It was a movie that advocated and represented for those that need to be represented right now, I think, in society. It showed both sides. It showed an intimate and nihilistic view of that and what it is. And it's almost like I'll leave this here, like Benicio del Toro, what he's the facilitator of what he calls in the movie the Latino Harriet Tubman railroad tunnel. And so that's going to have to go into part 2. It's one of those movies where I just need 2 parts. Benicio del Toro, oh my God, excelente, estupendo, espectacular. Stay tuned. Tune in for part 2 of this analysis and in-depth look at Paul Thomas Anderson's latest, One Battle After Another. And for here and for now, having just saw that and gotten out of the cinema late at 10 p.m. within an hour ago, that's all, folks.